Alright guys, how's it going? Welcome back. Well, I don't know about you, but I'm a huge fan of James Bond. I always have been. In fact, I think most men are. 007 lives a life most of us yearn for. Fast-paced, exciting. There's never a dull moment. I'd like to bet that inside most adult men, there's just a boy who wishes they were James Bond. 2022 is a big 007 anniversary. You see, it's been 60 years since Sean Connery first graced our screens in Dr. No, so I thought I ought to do something to mark this event. Obviously, being a car channel, I wanted to make sure that I picked the right wheels. Now, I wanted to get hold of a Renault 11, like the one Roger Moore drove down the steps in A View to a Kill, but I couldn't find one for love nor money. So, unfortunately, I had to settle for this. It's this 2008 Aston Martin DBS, just like the one Daniel Craig used in Casino Royale. You all thought me wearing a tuxedo, didn't you? Please, give me some credit. I'm not that predictable. I thought today I'd try and spend the day as James Bond whilst reviewing this beautiful Aston Martin. FYI, I won't be using any smutty innuendos. Thanks to #MeToo, I think I'd end up on some sort of register. I tried hard to get into character for today's video, so yesterday I went into Manchester and had about a dozen cocktails over a 3-hour period. Didn't have much sleep, and now today, I'll be honest with you, I feel terrible. And that's before I've shot any criminals, had some casual sex and saved the world. I don't know how he does it. All I want to do now is go and put my feet up and nod off on the couch. The Aston Martin DBS is essentially a lighter, tougher, racier version of the beautiful Ian Callum designed DB9. It was only on sale from 2008 until 2012, and only 3,400 of them were made. It's a very rare car, this. The DBS was first seen in 2006 in Casino Royale, in Daniel Craig's first outing as 007. I love a good car chase in a Bond film, but sadly that film didn't really provide us with one. It lasted about 20 seconds and then he rolled it. What I'm going to do today then is try and find a similar road and put this DBS on its roof. Just kidding, I'm not sure the guys over at Approved Vehicles in Chesterfield would be happy with that. I promised them that I'd return it in one piece. I'll leave their website below in the video description so you can have a look at their stock for yourself. They've got some really nice cars in stock. The DB9 on which this car was based was released in 2004, and that was something of a poster car for me growing up. I dream of owning a DB9. One day I'll have one. The DBS used the same aluminium chassis and engine as the DB9, but thanks to all the carbon fibre panels, this is much lighter. It also has much more power. Today should be a fun day. Because this is a sportier, more hardcore version of the DB9, I honestly expected this to feel like I'd got a tiger by its tail, but it doesn't. It's much more sophisticated than that. I know if I'm a bit too heavy with the throttle, I'll be facing the wrong way in no time, but it doesn't feel like a complete handful. Styling-wise, the DB9 is one of the prettiest, sexiest, most bite-the-back-of-your-hand cars ever made. It's subtle and sophisticated. Whereas the DBS is the wild child. It's a rebel without a cause. It's that sibling that's gone off the rails. It's more aggressive and youthful. This makes a DB9 look like a golf club captain's car. You've got flared arches, big bulges and vents in the bonnet, sill extensions, and round back you've got splitters and diffusers. Every time I glance in my side mirror and see that flared rear arch, I just get butterflies. It's so evocative, this car, so theatrical. I'm going to be a bit contrary now. I honestly can't make up my mind about the styling of the DBS. Sometimes I just think it looks a bit too much, a bit too try-hard. When they were brand new sitting in the Aston showroom, the DBS cost a whopping £50,000 more than the ordinary DB9. So to buy one for a 50k premium, you'd have to be A, a lottery winner, and B, a massive James Bond fan. It sounds glorious. Back then you could have been even more shrewd and bought the cheaper Vantage, but I wouldn't. I've never been a huge fan of those. They just look too small. I'm more of a Grand Tourer man myself. In addition to the styling upgrades, you also get carbon ceramic brakes as standard, which are Fantastic. Feels like my face is about to fall off. Oh yes. What a car. One thing to mention though, if you do plan to do your best Roger Moore impression and whisk away someone else's wife for the weekend, then you'll have to pack light. The boot only offers 186 litres of space. There's not much storage up front either. The DBS was available as a 2+2, but I don't think I've met any creature small enough to fit in those rear seats. Or you could have opted for this just as a 2-seater. Still, practicality probably isn't your number one reason for wanting to buy one of these. I get it. Under the beautiful bonnet is a 6-litre naturally aspirated V12, which puts out 510 brake horsepower. Now to put that into context, that's 60 more than you get from the ordinary DB9. And it shows. Whoa. This feels like a genuine supercar. It'll do 0 to 60 in just over 4 seconds, and it'll keep going until it hits 188 miles an hour. Which means if it weren't for speed limits, and to be fair, a fair few petrol stops, you can get from London to Monaco in about an hour and a half. Not that you'll be massively interested in this, but it'll only do about 15 miles per gallon, and the road tax is quite high at £6.30 a year. Anyway, that's enough negativity, thank you very much. Even though Aston Martin have stripped this car out and tried to make it lighter, it still weighs about 1,800 kilograms, so this isn't a Lotus Elise. Although the visibility is quite good while you're on the move, it can be quite tricky to park this, so you'll be pleased to hear that it comes with front and rear parking sensors, as standard. The DBS is available as an automatic or as a manual, and I'm quite pleased that this particular car is an automatic because I've heard, well, mixed things about the manual. I've heard the clutch is a bit of a chore to use and it can need replacing every 15,000 miles, so personally I just opt for the auto. But you do get these nice paddle shifters, so you can have a go at changing it yourself. Down into third. Oh yes. I haven't chosen the greatest day to film this, have I? The interior quality of the DBS isn't, well, it's not a Bentley, let me put it that way. It's all very nicely done and it is quite dramatic, but there are a few areas which do look a bit cheap. You'll be able to spot a few things from the Ford and Volvo parts bin, but just ignore it. The rest of the car is epic. It's far better than the sum of its parts. There's plenty of room inside as well. Plenty of headroom, plenty of leg room, plenty of elbow room. I like all this Alcantara here on the headlining, and I love the feel of the steering wheel. Overall, it's just one of those cars that makes you feel so special. I couldn't give two hoots that I've got the window switches from a Freelander, or the 12-volt socket cover from a Mark 6 Fiesta. Doesn't matter, does it? Not when you can do this. Oh boy. I shan't mention the sat nav because I'm in quite good spirits and I don't want to get all negative. Just use Google Maps on your phone and just keep that closed. I was expecting the ride quality in this car to be unbearable, you know, properly intolerable, but it isn't. In fact, it's no worse than my AMG GT. Even in sport mode, it's not too bad. I was expecting this to ride like, how can I describe it? You know that cobbled street from the Hovis advert? Imagine riding down that on a skateboard. That's what I thought this car would feel like. But it isn't. Wouldn't put me off buying one anyway. The funny thing is, it's a flawed car this, there are no two ways about it. I could pick on it all afternoon, pick and pick and pick, but that would be missing the point completely. Somehow its flaws just give it more personality. It feels more human, more three-dimensional. I love it. Used prices here in the UK start around £60,000, which might sound expensive for a 12 or 14-year-old car, but I don't see them dropping much more below that. I genuinely think it'd make a good investment, but would I have one? No. Honestly, no. I'd just have a DB9 and save myself £30,000. Well, on that note, thank you once again for watching, and I wish you all a Merry Christmas and a very Happy New Year. Cheers, guys. See you next time.